Hello and welcome to In Touch with Durham County. I'm Deborah Craig Ray, General Manager of Strategic Planning and Innovation. Thanks to the Zoom platform, we are bringing you some important information to help you through these times. Our current health crisis, COVID-19, has taken its toll on businesses across the country. Durham, like other communities, has seen its small businesses especially vulnerable during this time. The City of Durham and Durham County Government have partnered with Carolina Small Business Development Fund to provide loan and grant funds for small businesses disrupted by the pandemic. We've invited Kevin Dick, President and Chief Executive Officer of Carolina Small Business Development Fund, to talk about this program. In our second segment, we're going to talk with our Durham County Tax Administrator, Dwayne Brinson. He'll share some of the new and innovative programs that his office is offering to help our taxpayers here in Durham County. Well, Kevin, welcome to the show. And let me just say how delighted we are to have you join us today.
Deborah, it is my extreme pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having us and giving us the opportunity to talk about this exciting program.
Absolutely. Well, let's start by giving us a little background. How did your agency and the city and county develop this initiative, and when was the program launched?
Thanks, Deborah. First and foremost, let me thank the Durham Board of County Commissioners for their faith and trust in Carolina Small Business Development Fund to manage this program. It's been really an outstanding opportunity for our organization and really enabled us to carry out our mission, which is to serve small businesses through lending and technical assistance, and really concentrating our efforts on Durham County. So it's been phenomenal. Mm-hmm. This partnership launched in June initially. That's when the city, Duke University, and Carolina Small Business Development Fund entered into a three-way partnership to provide grants to Durham businesses. And then the county recognized how things were going and how it could play such an important part as well, and joined the partnership in August. And what that did was actually add to the resources that we could provide for our loan program. So it's really been an awesome now four-way partnership. And what I would say is very unique in that it involves a four-year university and municipalities collaborating with the community development financial institution like ours. So we're really pleased to be part of it.
Indeed, it is very special. Now, as I understand the program, eligible businesses must be independently owned and physically located in Durham County. What else do you look for in eligible businesses?
Sure. So as you mentioned, there are two components to the program, the grant program and the loan program. And we have different criteria for each. Those criteria are in detail on our website at carolinasmallbusiness.org. But I'm going to focus on the loan program mostly as we describe this. I will say that the program has been very active. We have deployed over $1.4 million in capital to over 150 businesses in Durham County between June and now. The grant program had $1 million in it. So grants could be up to $10,000. Mm-hmm. And there was, as I said, $1 million fund. And we have spent $950,000 of that. So there are a few more grant opportunities left, but act now. We look for businesses that are under 50 employees, under $2 million in revenue, and that would be for the grant program. For the loan program, we are actually looking at businesses up to $5 million in annual revenue and up to 50 employees. Mm-hmm. So, and the grant amount maximum is $10,000 or 2 months of operating expenses, whichever is less. The loan program is a max of $35,000 at 3% interest with a 10-year repayment term, and no collateral needed.
Wow.
There are very few, if any, loan programs that are operating under that premise right now. And we are able to deploy these funds pretty quickly. So we're inviting applications. But generally speaking, I want to focus, like I said, mostly on loan program because that's where the city and county are collaborating.
Mm-hmm.
That in total was a $1.8 million fund. And we have just under 1.3 million to still lend. So there are a lot of opportunities there.
So have you made adjustments to the program since we began?
Great question. Yes, we wanted to open up the eligibility and make it as flexible as possible. So at the beginning, we were only looking for borrowers that had revenues between $500,000 and $2 million. And again, this is relating to the loan program. But then what we did was we opened it up further and we basically had no floor and we made the ceiling $5 million in revenue. We also, whereas we started with 25 employees or fewer, we're now at 50 employees or fewer.
Mm-hmm.
We also put in a provision that made the 2-year profitable operation requirement a little bit more flexible. We recognize that Durham has been beset by some setbacks, such as the explosion that occurred in Brightleaf in, I believe it was late 2018 or early 19.
It was 19 in April. Mm-hmm.
Right. And so we recognize that businesses within that immediate geographic area, but also businesses that may have been anywhere in Durham. So if there were, let's say, a water main break or extensive infrastructure repair on the street that a business was on, that could impact the business's profitability. So what we did was we said, let's make that more flexible and just require at least 1 year of profitability based upon tax returns. And this way it would enable businesses, even who had a rough year in 2019, to still potentially participate.
Now, can a business receive both the grant and a loan? Is that possible?
We actually have, that's another great question, Deborah. We actually have opened it up. So yes, we have had grant recipients apply for loans. Loan recipients, as long as they fit into the criteria of the grant program, which are a little bit more confined because we're looking for really small businesses there, can also apply for grants.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, what can the money be used for by the businesses?
To offset operating expenses. We recognized during the pandemic that certain operating expenses like payroll or utility bills, equipment leases, lease costs, those things, maybe businesses could have fallen behind. And so what we want to do is make this capital as flexible as possible and really try to have those expenses related to those that could not have been paid because of the pandemic and losses in revenues.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, I know you've got a great staff doing some amazing work. Talk about your staff and then the type of technical assistance that they provide to these business owners, please.
Well, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to brag on my staff. But we do have a great team that is here to help small business owners walk their way through the application. They can also applications, I should say, for grants or loans. They can also help them once they get funded. So what we're really looking to do is connect borrowers or grant recipients with the technical assistance they need to not just survive the pandemic, mm-hmm. but also to thrive. So we'll maybe come in periodically and help look at financial statements, really assess the trajectory in terms of profitability that a recipient or a borrower may be on to make sure that they continue to pay their loans on time. We might connect them with other resources in the community that lend themselves to business financial literacy or business planning, marketing, those kinds of things that really improve a business owner's opportunity to be profitable. And really, like I said, just thrive after the pandemic.
Yes. Now, what types of businesses have you been able to support at this time with this fund?
They've really varied. So we have helped a lot of personal services businesses like beauty salons, barbershops. We've also helped restaurants and food establishments. We've also helped counseling services. So we've had folks that do mental health counseling, which, as we know, is really important at a time like this. And we've also had back office type operations like accountants and other professional services. So really a wide variety of small businesses have been helped with the loans and grants.
That's wonderful. Do you anticipate that more funding might come through for the program?
Well, right now, we're working with the city and county. So ultimately, as we report into the city and county, those decisions can be evaluated. The grant program is nearly fully consumed, but the loan program actually still has a lot more opportunity. So I would say we'd have to cross those bridges when we come to them. But the other thing that I should mention is that there is the capability for the private sector to contribute and match what the city, county, and Duke have put forward to fund these programs.
That sounds great. So we're about out of time. So do you have some key point that we didn't touch on that you'd like to add before we wrap up this segment?
Deborah, thanks for that. I would say, again, the loan program has a lot of opportunities. Visit carolinasmallbusiness.org to learn more. We have a special page called COVID-19 resources that will pop up as soon as you log in, and you'll have the ability to see Durham Small Business Recovery Fund, and that will let any potential borrower know about that opportunity and know about the paperwork that's required to apply. I would say that we probably, at the current loan rate, approval rate, as well as the average loan that we've granted, which has been about $29,000, we probably have opportunities for about 45 more loans.
That's awesome.
And that's for the entire county. So I would say apply now while you can.
Absolutely. Well, we'd like to thank you so much for all that you are doing to help our small businesses begin to recover and get back on their feet. And again, thank you for the technical assistance that your team helps, because it's like, you're just not handing them a check. You're actually kind of walking the walk with them.
That's right. That's right. It's not, we like to say that if someone is drowning, you can't teach them how to swim at the time they're drowning. You have to help them survive first and then thrive after. So that's what the technical assistance is geared towards. So we appreciate the opportunity and the partnership that we have with so many organizations in the community, as well as the city, county, and Duke.
Well, thank you again, Kevin, for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today. This has been very enlightening.
Thanks again, Deborah.
So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with a conversation with our Durham County Tax Administrator, Dwayne Brinson. Stay with us.
Because the fight isn't over yet.
You will see me choose to protect my community by wearing a face cover.
And even with my face covered,
you will see me.
As a son.
As a man with a never quit attitude.
As a fighter for change.
Join me in wearing a face cover.
To help stop the spread of the coronavirus.
Because this is one small act of kindness
that has the power to make a big difference.
Today I'm going to talk to you about physics. Come on in, girls. Let's go. This is the first rocket to get humans to Mars.
Really tall.
I'm a rocket structural engineer, designing and building parts of the rocket. You are the generation that will be stepping foot on Mars. Do I have a group of astronauts on my hands?
Yes.
You can become a rocket scientist or whatever else you want to be.
Welcome back to More in Touch. We're pleased to welcome our Tax Administrator, Dwayne Brimson. It's great to have you with us today, Dwayne.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, just for our viewers who don't quite understand what you are responsible for, please talk a little bit about your role in Durham County government.
Well, my role as Durham County Tax Administrator, I am appointed directly by the Board of Commissioners, which is a unique role. And as far as the operations, we do the billing, the assessment, and the collection of property taxes. And that extends a little bit into collecting stormwater fees for both the unincorporated Durham County and the city, eventually the city of Durham, in addition to the solid waste fees for general services. We also extend our services to include land records, which is plat reviewing. We have a myriad of tasks that we do in Durham County Tax Administration.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, one thing that you do, you administer several tax relief programs that are authorized by state law. Can we spend a little time talking about the three most popular tax relief programs?
Yeah, sure. So the three most popular programs is going to be the homestead exemption, the circuit breaker deferment, and the disabled veteran exclusion. The homestead exemption is the most popular.
Mm-hmm.
Someone with the homestead exemption, to qualify, you have to be 65 years of age or older. And the home has to be your primary residence. It is income driven. So you have to earn, right now it's less than $31,000 a year as an owner of the property. And if you qualify for the homestead, then the benefit is half off of your property tax value, or $25,000, whichever is greater. It's a great benefit that a lot of Durham County taxpayers take advantage of. And the second one, the circuit breaker deferment, that is income driven. So any benefit that you get from the circuit breaker deferment is tied to one's income. If you earn $31,000 or less, then you pay only 4% of your income in property taxes. And if you earn between 31,000 and I believe it's 46,500, then you pay only 5% of your income in property taxes. That is a deferment program, but it is only a 3-year deferment program. So if you're in the program for 10 years, then you have a great benefit with that program.
Yeah.
And the third one is the disabled veteran exclusion, which limits, if you qualify, then you get a $45,000 reduction on your tax assessment. So all three programs provide an enormous benefit to those that qualify. And we do our best to make sure the public knows about these programs. And if someone qualifies, then we want to get them into the program.
Very good. So recently, your office developed and released a custom tool for one to evaluate their situation against the qualifications of these three most popular tax relief programs. I believe the tool is called the Property Tax Assistance Evaluator. Property Tax Assistance Evaluator. Say that 3 times. Please tell us about that tool.
Right. So these programs, they're state tax relief programs. The qualifications, the nuances can be very confusing. And we don't want someone to be discouraged and not apply for this program because of the confusing legal language. So what we did is we took this multi-page legal application and we worked with our Durham County IS&T department. And basically we condensed the qualifications and the questions of these three most popular programs that we just discussed into, I believe it's less than a dozen questions, and it's online. It's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it's multiple choice, right? So you go on there and you answer the questions that the answers are predefined for you. We found that to be a very simple way of sort of pre-qualifying yourself for any of the three most popular programs. And then if you find out that you might qualify by using this evaluator tool, you can contact us directly from that tool. And we will reach out and walk you through the application process and make sure that you formally apply. we found that to be incredibly helpful for, not only the public, but also for our staff that may not be as adept in these tax relief programs. If we take a phone call with someone, then any staff member can pull up this evaluator tool and kind of walk through the tool with the taxpayer on the phone and see if there's an opportunity there for the taxpayer.
Outstanding. I love it. Very innovative.
Thank you.
So Durham City and County have placed the focus on assisting low-income homeowners with their property taxes. Can you summarize the recently approved tax relief program? I believe that's called the Long-Term Payment Plan Deferral Program.
Yes. I was aware shortly after I joined Durham County last year that my Board of Commissioners and the City Council had a great desire to help people maintain affordability in taxes. Now, in North Carolina, we don't have a lot of opportunity to create local tax programs. That authority rests with the state. Basically, we can only do what the state authorizes in state law. But I did present the commissioners and the City Council with an option where we can work with people who are of low income, long-term residents, stay in their home, not be displaced by property taxes. So what we did is create a long-term payment plan deferral program where, if you remember back to the circuit breaker that we talked about early on in this conversation, where you pay taxes based on a percentage of your income, that's sort of like the new program. If you earn less than 30% of the area median income, AMI, then you pay only 4% of your income in property taxes each year. Now, the difference between what you pay, that 4%, and the full tax bill is deferred for up to 10 years. But we found that to be something that we can do locally, and it's a way to ensure tax affordability for the ever-rising property values in Durham.
So this will be the first tax year that program will be available.
That's correct. We just passed it before tax bills were sent out. And I'll briefly mention another phase of that. We do have a private fundraising initiative where we are asking the Durham community, if you can contribute $5, $10, $20, $100, whatever you can contribute towards affordable housing, then please do that, because those funds are going to be used to help offset any cost of this program that we just developed. So we're trying to think of all the different ways we can do things creatively, but legally.
Yes, absolutely. And we certainly can help you with that. So what is your office doing during COVID to stay safe during this state of emergency?
Going back to the creativity, obvious things are that we're working remotely. We are sanitizing any places we can in conjunction with our general services department. And we basically have no public traffic right now. We are closed to the public. And we essentially have been closed to the public since about mid-March, I believe, late March, just to maintain public health. Now, the fact that we're working remotely, I don't want that to give the impression to the public that we can't assist, because we have some very neat tools in place that we have just put in place since we've closed to the public, like a remote call center. So staff is able to take calls on our main tax line, and we get a lot of calls. They're able to take calls on their computer from their home and assist just as they would, or maybe better than they would in the office. A really neat feature that we've just implemented. And the other thing that we've just gone live with is live chat. Anyone can go to our website and they can start a live chat conversation with real Durham County Tax Office staff. The public has really enjoyed that so far. We've been live about 3 weeks, maybe a month. I'm not sure it's been that long. But the public has really enjoyed that. And the staff has really enjoyed that because it's different, it's unique, it's innovative. And you know, if there's something that we can do to be more effective and more efficient and basically be there for the public, then we're going to look at it, consider it, just like this remote call center, just like live chat.
Yeah, well, we certainly appreciate that. And, you know, with the offices closed, and of course, the tax bills have now gone out. You know, we were used to seeing people coming into the building, especially towards the end of the year. So, what is the best way to pay your taxes this year?
Yeah, continuing with that innovation, Deborah, we have a free e-check payment option. So we are, you know, especially being closed to the public for public health reasons, we are really encouraging the public to take advantage of that free electronic check payment option. You can do that on our website. Very intuitive, but if you have issues, do a live chat with us, do a call with us, but definitely look into that for this year especially. We also have a low-cost personal debit card option where it only costs $3.50 to pay by your personal debit card.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if neither one of those options work, we do also accept credit card payments. Credit cards charge a percentage of the transaction, and that can add up, honestly. So I personally like either the e-check or the personal debit card, which is free or low cost respectively. And then there's, you know, if neither one of those work, none of those work, then we'll still take the mail it in payments. So feel free to mail it in as you usually would, if that's what you usually do in previous years. But the bottom line is that, especially with the resurgence that we're seeing in this public health crisis, I'm not sure what our office status is going to be when people usually come in late December, early January. So I would definitely look into those options, go ahead and get familiar with it, just in case that you can't pay in person this year because you might not be able to. And if we are open to the public, it's going to be heavily restricted. So just keep that in mind that it's looking different this year. Consider the electronic payment options or another alternative than paying in person.
Yeah. Well, Dwayne, I'd like to thank you so much. This has been a wonderful show. I mean, you've shared some vital information with our community and certainly some wonderful programs that can help many of our citizens. And again, we're just grateful for what you and your tax staff do for our entire community.
Thank you, Deborah.
Well, that wraps up our show, and we've had some wonderful segments today, and we hope you've enjoyed it and learned something. And we want to thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time on In Touch with Durham County. Cheers.